May I now request Dr. Sunil Kumar Verma to deliver his talk on molecular mapping of the medicinal plants of India, current approaches and future perspectives.
DNA. I thought I'll give you an introduction to DNA. But now I have to really DNA was first isolated by the physician, Frederick Fisher, from the bandage which was discarded outside the hospital. In 1944, Avery gave the principle that DNA is a genetic material and it is transforming principle in bacteria. Everyone know double helical model. DNA was given by Watson and Crick. Two young boys like you, okay, from Cambridge. They met in a pub and they discussed something, published a paper in Nature in 1953. That was a double helical model of DNA, which is a famous model in this, which made a base for the modern biology, DNA biology. Alec Jeffrey, he discovered the DNA fingerprinting in 1985. The DNA fingerprinting which was discovered by Professor Alec Jeffrey of UK for identification of humans. We did not know how to identify animals. Then, in 2001, we in India developed this universal primer technology, using which we can identify animals too. Any animal, you name. So this technology is a patented technology, and it has been given several awards. This is very simple trick or technique. You have pair of primer which anneal at a specific sequence in a universal manner, and it can amplify the intervening sequence. We have a band. You sequence it using the same primer. That sequence you blast against the database of known sequences, and the identity is revealed. So this we proposed in 2001. Now you know this technique with the name of DNA barcoding, which was proposed in 2003. So this technique has been used more than 1,500 times to solve the cases pertaining to the wildlife crime in Indian courts. With this basic introduction of DNA and the two applications of DNA in the field of human identification and animal identification, I come to the point why molecular mapping for the medicinal plants of India is needed. Why do we need it? So, as we have discussed during a couple of sessions or talks over the day, that India is very rich in biodiversity, 15 zones, more than 47,000 plants, 1,500 are of medicinal value. Many of them have gone already and some are going to go. But Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972 protects only 6 species. There were 6 in 1972, today also only 6. These are those lucky 6 species. You see all the flowers. They are the lucky species. Thanks to Dr. Sarkar for this slide, because I could have never got it. These are very, very endangered and very rare plants. No one can even touch them. India current scenario. What is the current scenario then? What about remaining 15,000 species? So 6 are protected. What about 15,000? Do we have their documentation? No. Database? No. Do we know their distribution and conservation status? No. Do we have some national policy? No. Can we identify them? Can we stop their illegal trade? If we can't identify, how will we? We can't. Believe me, medicines, these rare medicines are taken from the villages by the illiterate people who get paid 100 rupees or maybe 50 rupees for the entire day. And some person sitting in the village, he says, okay, this is the plant, it looks like this, you just bring it. And he just approved that plant, get 100 rupees, he is happy. This medicine go in the town for 200 rupees, from town to the city for 500 rupees, from city to the mega city, and finally to China for 2,000 rupees. And from China it comes back for 2 lakhs rupees. Yeah? and we can't control it because we don't have law. I personally interact with the wildlife officers and the forest officers like Dr. Sarkar. They personally share their pain with me. That even though they identify that something is being illegally traded, but they can't do anything because they don't know what to do. Right. So do we need to do something? Yes. Someone saying no. Yeah. Okay. Then how are we going to save them for our future generation? If we have no policy, we can't identify them, we can't protect their illegal trade. So what exactly is our plan? Is it the end of the day or planet with us? No. So how are we going to benefit from our intellectual traditional knowledge about their medicinal uses? How? Then how are we going to protect our rights on such intellectual traditional knowledge? Then what are our plans to ensure that proper implementation of benefit sharing mechanism will be there for us as well? So what is needed then? How to address all these issues? Only 3 कार्यक्रम. Yeah? Proper documentation from the beginning. We can take help from our ancient literature, from Sanskrit literature, from Tamil literature, but it has to be in English now because this is the language which everyone understands. Understanding the mode of action using modern science. This is a long lasting goal. We cannot do it in one day, but this is the roadmap. And the legal capacity, this is very important. Legal capacity building to claim the rights on our knowledge. Even if we have the knowledge, even if we do great research and we can't protect it, it's same thing. Like if I am very rich, I make a very big house and I have 10 cars, but I don't know how to protect it. Someone will come and steal it. Very simple. Okay? So same. The third point is very important. So there is an urgent need of molecular interventions because this is the current techniques. Using these interventions, we can not only identify the plant as a whole or leaf as a whole, but even if it is cut and powdered into small fragments and into small particles. A taxonomist or a botanist cannot identify if the leaf is not there, but a molecular biologist can. Even if you convert that plant, medicinal plant, endangered plant into a medicine and mix it, we can identify DNA, isolate DNA, identify and tell that this particular medicine is illegal because it has some illegally traded plant into it. So this is what we require. There is an urgent need of formation of some Indo-EU, Indo-German, because this is Indo-German meeting. So I will emphasize Indo-German. And we have long-lasting collaboration with Germany, everyone knows that, to do cutting-edge research on the medicinal plants. So you know that homeopathy actually is originated in Germany. And like Ayurveda is originated in India. So both these countries share similar interest. Somewhere our thinking are same. So this is the time we have to be together and do something. Legal capacity building to claim the rights on our knowledge. I just give you 1 or 2 examples. These are the real examples. Discovery of artemisinin and Nobel Prize 2015. Everyone knows this lady, great scientist, Yu from China. There are some known controversies. Controversies was she really the first to discover artemisinin as a malaria drug? Artemisinin is a variety of artemisinin, and both are this biochemist will know this better. This is the structure, and all this artemisinin and as well as artemisinin belongs to this class. So it is like this that I isolate compound A from plant A, alright, and then I go back home and I say I have a plant B which is like similar plant, and I isolate a compound A1 from it. Alright? So the point is that in India, about 500 years old book, this Artemisia and Martima is explained. And 100 years before UU2's discovery, there is a book, Indian book. This is the book, 1918, authored by, Karthikar Lal. And this is the page number 700, where they have given the entire recipe, how to isolate artemisinin. So they have given the recipe to isolate artemisinin. They also say that it can be used for remittent and intermittent fever. So in those years, malaria was known with this word, right? Not malaria. So we know that something like Artemisia, some species of Artemisia can be used to treat fever, intermittent fever or remittent fever. So this is a knowledge, traditional knowledge, which was there in India also. So we are not saying that, Nobel should have been shared or something, but at least acknowledgement that yes, this knowledge is there in India as well as in China. But because Chinese scientists took the lead and they isolated it and identified the mode of action, Nobel. No problem, but at least acknowledgement. However, if we go with the CBD's regulations, only acknowledgement is not sufficient. Their own regulation, they say that if knowledge is shared by two different countries at the same time, then the benefit sharing will be going to both the countries. This is the existing rule position. So why not in this case? Because we don't have legal capacity to claim it. As simple as that. So I say rediscovery of wheel. This is another case of rediscovery of wheel. Our colleagues from Germany is there, and I would like to show something. This is the universal primer technology which we developed in 2001. 1,500 times it has been proved in the court of law for the cases of wildlife. This is a patented technology. In 2006, this is the report from US, where they used Verma and Singh 2003 to solve this commercial case. This is a report, original report, signed by the officers over there. Can we do this? That something is patented in US and we use it without permission? Probably we have to give the wealth of not only ours but also our ancestors to fight that case. But they do this. They have done it. And we can't manage. This is next case, example of rediscovery of wheel. Why the legal system is required in this country? I'm just trying to emphasize. Whatever the great research we do, if we don't have power to ensure that we protect it for our scholars, all the efforts of our scholar will go in vain. As simple as that. This is another example. This is a statement from the Parliament of India. Minister of Science and Technology made this statement that the universal primer technology of Verma and Singh 2001, this is a boon for the wildlife and it has been used for thousands of cases during last 15 years. This is the statement by the Parliament of India. They won't make statement without any evidence. So I'm sure there might have been long lasting questions and answers before making this official statement in the Parliament. Now, you see, this is recently published in one of the flagship magazine of Ministry of External Affairs, but I'll show you something. This is a website which I came across just, I think, a month ago. They named it Barcode of Wildlife. There is a barcode of life which is existing since 2006. Okay? And now they say barcode of wildlife. See what they have written there. 3 million. Google Global Impact Award Program has granted US 3 million to the consortium for the barcode of life, GOBOL, this, for a pilot project to demonstrate the value of DNA barcoding for investigating, prosecuting wildlife crime. This is a pilot project for which they get 3 billion. I understand you can get 3 billion from Google, you get it. But please don't say that it's a pilot project. Because in India we are doing it and using it since last 15 years. And this is not pilot anymore. This pilot project will test the cost effectiveness and the implication of DNA to developing countries like India, inspector they will come and teach us to detect illegal trade, and we are so much intelligent, we will learn from them. So this is another case of reinvention of wheel. You have money, you can reinvent the wheel. So what we need proper documentation. We need understanding of mode of action using modern science, and we need the legal guidance. If we have any point is missing, we are nowhere. So where we are globally in case of plants. If we have this database for the plant and documentation, we will have some of the query addressed at least. We will have documentation of the database, yes. Distribution conservation status, yes. National policy, it will help in national policy framework, yes. It will help in governance. Can we identify them? Yes. Can we stop the illegal trade? Yes. And can we claim our rights on them? Yes. I gave you the example of basmati rice and GMO. This is the global position for the identification of plants. They are the markers. I do the literature of my sheep search, and I just search the number of papers, how many genes are used for identification of plant, and I see that there are 97,000 references or notes for MATK. Okay, so international community is agreeing to use some genes like MATK gene and maybe one more gene to use as a marker for identification of plant. This is a global scenario, and I agree with that. Where is India? In fact, I just purposefully included this white slide. Where we are? I don't want to disgrace anyone, but recently me and Dr. Sarkar wrote a comment on a paper published from India. Those gentlemen did some barcoding studies in some forest, and they concluded that eucalyptus is a tropical forest. Yeah. So what they did, whatever they found in the tropical forest, they collected and they did the DNA barcoding and made the database. And they said this is a pilot project to make the database of the plant, of the tropical forest plant. So they don't know that in the tropical forest there is a specific definition of the tropical forest. If I do the blast against that database of the eucalyptus, my student will conclude eucalyptus is a tropical forest plant. Yeah. Yeah. There are hundreds of mistakes which we pointed out, and this paper is published in Kiloswan. Alright? And when we submitted this comment to Kiloswan, they simply demanded money to publish our comment. So we said we want to correct you. We don't want to give you money. So they wrote back, they asked so many questions, and finally paper was sent for review, and it was lying in the review for 10 months, and finally they did not reply. Yeah? Because they don't know what to do, and they don't want to trouble anyway. So we don't want to do such kind of research. See, this is the beginning for the molecular markers and molecular type modern studies for the plant in this country. We don't want to do mistakes. Simply just to publish a paper. In another paper, we have written a comment. One group from India, they published a paper in some journal, Natural Product Research, and they said, which plant is that, Professor? Decalcus. Decalcus agalpatra. This is a highly endangered plant. Very critically endangered. Alright? Very few plants are left in this country. He wrote to the editors of the journal that the authors themselves say that this is an endangered plant. And after saying that, you say that you use this plant for the venenos. Yeah. So this is unethical. It's something like, scientists publishing a paper that a person can be killed with a knife. Person can also be killed with a bullet. And therefore, every time you want to kill a man or a woman, you should use a bullet. So this is scientific study. This is unethical. We cannot publish such data. And how come this kind of paper go from this country, and how come they are published? I don't understand. And if this is the kind of science we want to do, I don't want to be a scientist. Yeah? Okay. So these comments were published by me and Dr. Sarkar, and they were accepted. Editors were bit reluctant to publish. So I wrote, if you don't publish, I will send it somewhere. So that editor, he agreed and he published it, and it came as a comment on the paper, and we clearly wrote that this is an unethical study, and this kind of conclusion should not be there, because vanilla industry will come and say one scientist has published it, so we are following. Simple. So this is a damage for the national bank. So instead of helping, we are damaging. So then I met Dr. Sarkar, I think 2-3 years ago. It's a long story, but then we agreed, okay, we will do some work. Anyway, I had interest in being an agriculture graduate, and my doctorate in molecular medicine. So I am a intermediate species between plants and medicine. So I know a little bit of agriculture. I can appreciate the plants, and I have studied the modern medicine and modern cell biology in Oxford University. So then we thought, okay, let us begin something, and we did some work. Dr. Sarkar had shown some slides in the morning. We took some plants and we tried to develop markers for it, and we are doing some work. Then he has written a big book. I say Bible of Biodiversity Governance. So when I met him, he said that this book is lying in government shelves. Okay, it's eating dust. I said no, it will not eat dust. Then we wrote it online, and anyone can read it and download online. Alright, so then this book was recognized by CBD as one of the activity of the year. Alright, so this is this kind of thing we want. We have to appreciate our own work first, and then only others can appreciate. Then we also propose. This is what I propose. We say that we have to make a database, endangered plant reference database, and we had long discussions, which started in the flights and it continued over months and years, and we have agreed. This is the wheel. I cannot explain you this wheel, but this we named BioGo wheel. This is the first time I am presenting it in the open meeting like this. It is being recorded, and we propose this wheel. This wheel is just like a man-leaf periodic table, and this wheel, single wheel, can tell you what is the biodiversity governance status for any plant, in any status, in any country, for entire crop. So, just it works based on the basis of galaxy. Galaxies, if you go back in the time, so everything goes towards the periphery, and when we move in this direction, everything move in the center, and when the things go in the center, they disappear, become extinct. So our governance aim is to take the time back. So how to do it? There are some parameters which we have written and included everything there. So looking at this wheel and the position and colors of number of the plants and other parameters, we can tell what is missing and what we want to do. So anyway, we will publish this work very soon, and hopefully this will be one of the good outcomes. The way we could present our plant biodiversity, this could be one of the very good way of that. Now, this meeting is just a tiny step towards some of the things which we want to do together in India, in Germany, and all the young people are here. You have lots of food for thought. When you go home, you can think what you want to do after your BSc, after your Masters, after your PhD. But I will say only one thing: whatever you do, wherever you go, my best wishes, and please remember that we are born in this country, so we owe to it, and we have to return something to this country before we earn name and fame for us. With these words, I will happening in this planet, in my state. We have so many books with lots of tables. This is one of the way of representing the land.
Anyone will follow this?
Oh! You will follow it. Because you are here, you heard me, and now you will remember me and you will follow it. Thank you.
Now this universal factor technology, right? I remember Dr. Ramakrishna talking about
We are using internationally, they are based exactly on the universal primer technology.
only the gene is different. Okay? But the primer which we use for MATI is universal. Principle is exactly the same. And because now they are means it's concluded by the international forum that not one but we need two genes. So not only I just giving you some idea, I want to do this work. Not only one gene, but we can design the primer so that we have to write two genes at a time as a real signature. So many things are possible, and we have capacity to that.
Forest area very much enlarged than compared to human population. But now it's in reverse. The human population is very, very high compared to the forest area. And day by day we can see statistically and everywhere due to our lifestyle and all, we are using it. We are using the forest.
Okay, I'll answer your question.
Let me ask.
Okay.
So the number of medicinal plants, as we have seen it as an endangered species, the ratio of medicinal plants and the disease population is at an equilibrium. So, I mean, how can we start? What is the solution to bring the medicinal plants, the ratio of medicinal plants to the growing population? How can we bring this?
That's what exactly we are discussing, that we have without any policy. You must have a policy framework, some law in this country that you cannot touch these plants. Okay? So all these things exactly we are discussing. Coming to the point that we have less forest now, let me tell you, you will be amazed. Dr. Sarkar is there. He is a forest officer, Indian Forest Services. Okay, one of the top officers in the country. Still, despite the fact that we have less forest, but if we see all forest in the entire globe and entire population on the entire globe, every person on this globe has a field equal to a football. Yeah. Only problem is that this forest is not properly distributed. In some countries where more population, so less forest, and in some countries where they don't have people who live, forest. So we, because of our own activities, we have disturbed the ratio. That is the only problem. Otherwise, nature tries to keep it up. Alright? Okay.